Okay, in this nugget, we're going to talk about a simple way to hire the right people and to gauge whether you or your current staff are good employees or not. So we learned these principles from a book called The Ideal Team Player. This is a fantastic book that really takes the hiring process and it boils it down into 3 simple things to look for in your staff. There's quite a bit of good information in this book, so I highly recommend that you take the time to read the whole thing. We're just going to cover things at a really high level in this quick nugget. But the 3 factors they look for are very simple and extremely effective and extremely powerful. Those 3 qualities that you're looking for are humble, hungry, and smart. I'm going to walk you through how we use these in our office, but let's talk about those 3 categories first. So the first one is humility. Pretty simple to understand, but their definition is ideal team players are humble. They lack excessive ego or concerns about status. Humble people are quick to point out the contributions of others and slow to seek attention on their own. They share credit, they emphasize team over self, and they define success collectively rather than individually. So that's humility, humble. Next is hungry. Ideal team players are hungry. They're always looking for more things to do, more to learn, more responsibilities to take on. Hungry people almost never have to be pushed by a manager to work harder because they're self-motivated and diligent. They are constantly thinking about the next step and the next opportunity. The third is smart. Ideal team players are smart. They have common sense about people. Smart people tend to know what is happening in a group situation and how to deal with others in the most effective way. They have good judgment and intuition around subtleties of group dynamics and the impact of their words and actions on others. In other words, they get along well with others and people like working with them. So that's pretty simple stuff. Now, if an employee or potential employee are low in even one of these categories, it can cause big problems for the whole team. So how can you use these to your advantage when hiring? We put together a hiring process that focuses on these 3 qualities. The book actually gives you a more thorough hiring process to follow, and we've simplified it a little bit. Our first step is to do an initial phone interview, asking them a series of questions about themselves. Here's an example of what that might look like. Now, if we feel they are what we're looking for at a high level, humble, hungry, and smart, we schedule an in-person interview. We hold this in-person interview with all of our staff present and then go through another series of questions with the candidate. Many of these questions are designed so that we can grade them on how humble, hungry, and smart they are. So at the end of the interview, we explained to the potential candidate how important these qualities are to us and what they mean to us as a company. After the interview is completely over, our entire team grades these potential employees on those 3 categories. We use a simple 1 to 10 scale and grade them and compare everyone's notes to each other. If they score high in all categories, we set up a 3rd interview to go through the finer details of the job and the expectations of them. So how can you use these to your advantage when working with your current staff? All of our employees are required to read this book first of all, so they understand the concepts that are in the book. Once they know and understand the concepts of humble, hungry, and smart, we make sure that they have future promotions and raises based off of how they perform in these areas, and they're aware of that. So when we do our annual performance reviews, we have a template that goes through how we rank each of their categories according to how they perform in them, right? So we'll rank each person on humble, hungry, and smart on their annual review. If they're doing great in all 3 areas, generally they get a nice raise or a promotion. If they're weak in one or more area, we focus on those areas to come up with a game plan on how we get them to where we need them to be. We also make it clear that if they can't get to an acceptable level in whatever category they're lacking, that we're gonna have to part ways. It's serious stuff around here, and we want it to be a culture of that. We've had great success with it, along with many of you watching this video. As mentioned, this is a really short overview of the concept, but what I can tell you is that it works. If you've been struggling to get the right people or create a culture of success at your store, I recommend you pick up a copy of this book and start hiring people that are humble, hungry, and smart. Also, feel free to reach out to me or any of our staff if you'd like to talk more about the topic or get copies of our hiring process. Have a great day.